SK Datta, Athar Zia raising some points there. How do you respond?
Well, we have to look into the whole thing from a multi-faceted way as such. First and foremost, as you had rightly said earlier in one of your commentary, that Hamid Ansari is not an ordinary individual as such. He has held constitutional post.
That's
Before
why
that,
we condemned his participation as well as his statement.
before that, he has been, Indian diplomat as such. And I think having been in so many responsible positions, both in the Indian Foreign Services as well as in the constitutional post of India, it is highly, highly derogatory, condemnable, as well as I go ahead and I say it is seditious on part of Mr. Hamid Ansari to take part in an anti-India, pro-Pakistani platform and to air his views which are against the basic ethos and the preamble of the Constitution, against the basic ethos of the Constitution as such. Mr. Ansari, he being in a constitutional post, he being the vice president of our country, he should have been responsible enough not to take part in this kind of a webinar, first and foremost. And even if he had taken part in such a webinar, his constitutional duty and basic moral duty should have been to defend the cultural, the constitutional, the liberal, the secular, democratic ethos of our country, and not go out of his way to air his views, which would be so vicious, and it would give in a kind of a air to for Pakistan and for anti-India forces to clap their hands and to extend the rhetoric further as such. That's one thing. The second thing is like when there is a kind of a comparison goes on between, what is secular and what is not secular, and what is cultural and what is not cultural, and what is religious. Let me come to some very famous historical examples from the pages of history as such. I go back to 1920s to the country called Turkey, when Mustafa Kemal Atatürk came into power into Turkey, and he declared Turkey as a secular democratic nation. Do you know what did he do? The first thing which he did was to destroy the mosque in Constantinople, which was built over a church as such. And Atatürk had said that since it was built upon a church, therefore it was never a mosque, and it needs to be given back to the Christian minority of the country. And the grand church was constructed out there. Pratikrik was citing the example of Indonesia. I go a little ahead on that. When you land up in Indonesia, people in Indonesia, they greet you with folded hands and they say Om Swastiastu. They are Muslim by faith. I have been to Indonesia. I have seen that with my own eyes. You ask them what's their name. They say, I am Arjuna Muhammad, Rama Muhammad, Sugriv Muhammad, or might be Draupadi, like Muhammad or something of that sort, of Sita Muhammad as such. They are Muslim but by faith, but they have maintained their cultural ethos as such, their cultural tradition as such. The Nusantara, new capital of Indonesia, which is going to be built in Borneo, in the Borneo province of Indonesia. The whole art plan of Nusantara, the architectural plan of Nusantara is based on Hindu and Buddhist cultural ethos. Indonesia is a Muslim country, but they haven't forgotten their culture as such. That is what is called cultural nationalism. When you know what your roots are, and when you understand what your roots are, and you stick to your roots irrespective of your religion, that is something which is called cultural nationalism. Some people out here in India, those who play a fodder to vested interest of the West, they are the ones who try to distort and they try to destroy this basic fact as such.
Yes.
And they try to differentiate the whole thing as such. Just one more example I'm giving out here. When the Aswan Dam was constructed in Egypt over the Nile River, quite a few number of mosques, including the Blue Mosque in the vicinity of Cairo, these were all relocated. Was it blasphemy in terms of Islam? It was not.
Okay.
Egypt is a Muslim nation as such. So Mr. Ansari should have understood this basic difference between religious fanaticism and cultural nationalism, and he should have put
All
his
right.
points in that way. And just 5 seconds.
I'm
more
going to have to
right?
leave it at that. We've run
Just 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds more.
Okay.
After that, you can go to the other speaker as such. What I understand is like by condemning him, that is not enough. I think punitive action needs to be taken.